Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I've got another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and talk about things that are going on to better explain what's going on and talk about things that I think they're being done right and or done wrong. So this incident comes out of Las Vegas, Friday, May 15th, I think it said, 2025. A man by the name of Daniel Ortega, a 34-year-old male, went to this gym and shot and killed a man by the name of Edgar Quinones, 31, of Las Vegas, and a few other people were also injured in this incident. The police said that there is no known connection between him and the person that he killed, and that he had worked out at this gym before, but they did not know a motive behind why he did what he did. The gym is in a very urban area, so it looks like this could be the whole gym itself, maybe, I don't know, but it looks like a pretty large building here. He went in with an AR-15 style rifle. They said that he fired about 24 rounds and then experienced a malfunction, but they did not specify what kind of malfunction that he had. This occurs a lot in these incidents of targeted violence. The perpetrators will experience a malfunction of some sort, and that causes them to either surrender, self-terminate, or in this case, they charge at the police and cause an officer-involved shooting, or it gives the advantage to the police to advance on them and fire on them and stop the threat. It gives armed citizens the opportunity to advance on them to stop the threat, either by gunfire or just hand-to-hand. And that actually occurs, or has occurred quite a bit. Just regular citizens, no weapons, just pricking, grabbing hold of them and just manhandling them. But they get that opportunity to do that because there's a lull in the fight caused by a malfunction. And like I said, they did not specify what kind of malfunction that he had. And you can see from this evidence picture that obviously someone has rendered the weapon safe and has closed the dust cover. So if he had been shooting this gun, the dust cover would be open. So obviously someone has picked this up and has cleared it, made it safe to be put into an evidence box or evidence bag. What kind of malfunction could he have had? So they mentioned that he fired 24 rounds. It's possible that he ran out of ammo. And that would be a malfunction. That would be a cause for a type 1 malfunction where the gun just don't go bang. And part of that could be because it's an empty magazine. There's not a lot of good footage provided from the Las Vegas police. Las Vegas police has actually gone downhill, in my opinion, with their media briefings on officer-involved shootings. They used to show quite a bit of detailed footage. Now they have switched gears within the last, ever since the new person got elected. So ever since that new election occurred, they have shifted gears and have really gone downhill on their critical incident briefing videos, and now they only show just small little snippets from the video and then they stop it. New York police has also, I've noticed, started following this kind of trend, and this kind of trend is obviously from the very woke left. Whatever their ideological beliefs behind it is, it's obviously something that is coming from the left, and we see that the left has, interestingly enough, been the ones to call for body cam footage. But now they're the ones who are calling for the censorship of body cam footage. They don't want that body cam footage going out there. And unfortunately, Las Vegas, like I said, has gone down that rabbit hole of that bullcrap and not releasing records to the public the way they should. So we don't get to see a whole lot of visual on this, and so from what I could see, it did not look like the suspect had any support gear on. It didn't look like he had a chest rig on, a battle belt, nothing like that. So it didn't look like he had the ability to carry any extra magazines beyond what he could have as far as pockets, right? So very real possibility that he just ran out of ammunition. Another possibility is that he had some type of like a stovepipe kind of issue where the brass didn't fully come out of the gun, and for whatever reason he just did not know how to clear that malfunction. He could have had a casing stuck in the chamber. The extractor could have broken, and he wasn't able to get that casing out. He could have had a casing that just didn't fully seat into the gun, or I'm sorry, fully seat into the chamber, and he did not know how to use the forward assist on the rifle to get it into battery. And he could have had a bolt over brass type of malfunction, which is one of the worst malfunction that you can have with a rifle like this. So without any photos or videos showing the rifle what it looked like immediately after he dropped it, it's anyone's guess at this point what kind of malfunction that he could have had. This goes back to training, right? And why, and it sounds weird to say this per this incident, but this is why training is an important thing. And I don't think that this person had any training whatsoever, which is good. Like, I don't, obviously he's a psycho and is a piece of crap, and he's not someone that we want having training. But had he had any minimal amount of training, one of those malfunctions could have been something that could have been easily cleared, unless he just completely ran out of ammo. But all the other malfunctions, if you have a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of training and practice, those are simple things that you can clear right then and there. You don't have to have any tools to do anything. And it doesn't look like the rifle has experienced any type of catastrophic issue. It's not like something has blown up on this thing. So it's got to be one of those simple malfunctions that can be cleared by the user in the field. And this is a pretty common thing when it comes to individuals involved in incidents of targeted violence. They have no training, or they have some very minimal level of self-training and practice. There's only been but a very small number of them who have actually received formal training from someone, as far as like a competent instructor. And in those incidents, you can see where that training makes a difference, because they are quite deadly. The one that sticks out to me is the incident that occurred in Texas, Dallas. The riots, I think it was like 2015, 2016. The perpetrator was former military. I think he was something like a carpenter or something in the military, but he received some training, obviously, on a rifle in basic, and then he also went to a private firearms school, got some additional training, and then he went and engaged in a gun battle with police. He killed multiple police officers. I want to say there was like 6 police officers shot and killed, and multiple more wounded. There was a cell phone camera footage captured of him killing one of the officers, and it was right outside the building, and there's like a concrete column or a pillar, and you see him approach the officer, and they've exchanged rounds, and he flanks the officer and comes up and beside and behind him, and kills him by flanking him. And he was such a threat that the police had to strap a bomb to a robot, to an EOD robot. They put a C4 charge on this damn thing, rolled it in to where he was at, and clacked it off to stop the threat, because otherwise it just would have been a too high risk of a scenario to send people in after them. And that's just with very minimal amount of training. I mean, you think about what the training standards are for basic training in the military, right? Like it's just very basic stuff that they learn. And someone that just has a regular job in the Army that's non-combat, right? They don't go and do more firearms training. They only do their qualifications so often after they finish basic. And then if they're a carpenter or a truck driver or a cook or a mechanic, whatever, that's what they're doing. That's the only thing they're messing with. They're not playing with guns the rest of the time like a combat unit is. So that very minimal amount of training that he had in basic, and then that minimal amount of training that he had after it, he went up and killed multiple police officers and was such a high threat that they had to strap a bomb to a fucking robot and send it in after him. So like I said, training is or the lack of training is very apparent in these incidents. And it's a good thing. We are fortunate that these people are not the type of people to be disciplined to go out and engage in professional training. Psychologically, they're way different than actual true gun people. And I think for the longest time, the anti-gun crowd kind of called these active killers, gun nuts and stuff like that, because they obviously use guns to kill people, and they have unfortunately used the same pattern kind of style rifle in a lot of these incidents. And this was before really more detailed information on these incidents was coming out and was more spreadable and just so immersive. Now we just have so much information on these incidents that you look back in these people's backgrounds and their histories, and they're not gun people. They're not what you call amosexuals or anything like that. They're far from it. Yes, they've got guns, they've acquired guns, but they have not dedicated their life, so to speak, to the gun world. They have not embraced that martial art of the firearm. They have not gone out and conducted training beyond just a concealed carry class. They're way different than the normal gun people. The only thing that they have in common with the gun people is they have guns, but they're not gun people. So, like I said, the lack of training is very evident with these individuals that commit these incidents of targeted violence. And gun people are not the people that you need to be worried about. Like people who go and spend hundreds of dollars and hundreds of hours of their life going to training courses. Like if those people ever decided to go bolt action crazy, it's going to be a very bad day. There's going to have to be a lot of robots and C4 to deal with those people, because it's just going to be Friday the 13th with them. Anyway, enough yakking. So this guy went in and shot some rounds, fired about 24 rounds, killed one person, has injured others, and the police arrive. And we'll watch the video of the police.
Multiple people are telling us he's still inside. Let's go. Skeeter, take cover, he's coming up.
Okay, right there. Hey! Yeah, see if I see the...
One's coming out.
Yeah, he's coming out. Get cover. I see him right there at the front door. Yes, he is at the front door. I don't have a shot.
See him in the entrance. One WMA, all black clothing with a rifle.
Get some fucking cover.
Copy.
You got a key to the door? Okay. Okay. He's right there by the fucking door. Is that you, sir?
Shots fired, shots fired. That was 2 William 34. Still moving. He's moving, he's moving! William 34.
Hey. Hey, get covered.
I see him. He's right there. He's by the front door.
Yes, he's the front door. I don't have a shot.
I don't see him.
Okay, yeah, is that the address? Okay, get some fucking cover.
I've got cover. Don't worry. Hey, he's locking the doors, dude.
Is that key the door?
I think he is.
Okay.
Hey, we gotta push in, dude.
He's right there by the fucking door. Is that you, Skate?
No, no. Hey,
One down in here. It's going to be corner two. We got a guy with a long-range rifle inside. Okay. There's women in the bathroom.
He went in the bathroom?
There's women in the bathroom. You need to get to that bathroom. He went that away with a long-range rifle. I believe the man had.
Okay. Okay, right there. Hey. Okay, I see him. I see the. Yeah, hey, Trade, get cover.
I see him. He's right there. He's by the front door.
Yes, he is the front door. I don't have a shot.
I don't see him.
Okay, yeah, he's at the entrance. Kid, get some fucking cover. He's barricading the door? Okay. Okay. He's right there by the fucking door. You don't have a shot. Is that you, Kate? Is that you?
Go.
He's moving!
Is he still inside?
Ortega, individuals suffering from apparent gunshot wounds.
The entrance.
All right, so let's go
We will
ahead
now
and kill the audio for this. What can we learn from what we've just seen here? So we'll go with this this first body cam footage here. And we'll start with this guy. So the second video that we see is him going to the back of the car, getting his carrier out, and then getting his rifle. So this is, I guess you could say, a realistic view of what's going to happen, or what can happen on an incident like this, where you get there and you got to throw stuff on really quick and go. So he did have his left side strap on. This right side is unbuckled, and so it's a very loose fitting plate carrier on that may shift and maybe not provide the optimal amount of protection. It could be sagging too much, perhaps, if not buckled in correctly. If he goes to the ground for whatever reason, is becoming more vigorous physical activity, this vest is going to potentially hinder his ability to do stuff. It could rise up really high. It could fall off of him. So putting plate carriers on in exigent circumstances can lead to this, where you don't put it on fully like you should, or you just don't get to put it on at all. And I think it's one of those things where it can lead to this is a good idea to have it, but trying to have it on in exigent circumstances just doesn't always work out the greatest, unless you have an extra amount of time, leisure time, to put this thing on all the way. So I think this is an outdated, archaic way of doing body armor. The technology exists now to where you can have rifle rated armor as a concealed vest like they do for their normal uniform. So this guy has a normal uniform shirt and he has a normal concealed vest under it. The company Safe Life Defense makes a concealable style vest panel called FRAS, F-R-A-S, Flexible Rifle Armor System. It's kind of like the old school dragon skin armor kind of concept. It has a bunch of ceramic tiles inside of it, and it is rated to stop rifle rounds. And you can wear this thing like a concealed vest, or you can put it in an external carrier and wear it as an outside vest. It's flexible. It wears just like a normal concealable 3A vest. It flexes, obviously, hence the name, why it's in there. I think that is the way to go. I'm surprised that the other major body armor manufacturers have not gone to this style of armor. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know why they are not doing this kind of option. But Safe Life Defense, I think that they're doing it right. I think they have a really good product called FRAS that gives you the ability to have rifle rated protection in the style and size of a concealable 3A vest that you can wear on shift all day long and be just fine. Plate carriers with the plates, yeah, plates do great at stopping rifle rounds, but it's literally just like taking a old school textbook from elementary school and putting one on the front of your chest and one on the back. That's it. That's all you're doing. And you have to put it in this little carrier thing that holds it specially, and you throw it on when you need it, and then take it off when you don't. And so under exigent circumstances, like I said, I just don't think it works out the greatest. There are some agencies out there where they just wear it all day. That's part of their normal uniforms. They just wear a plate carrier. Or they wear a normal style vest that has rifle plate pockets in it, and they put rifle plates in there. That's an option too. I just don't think that it's the greatest option. Plate carriers, using ceramic plates, although they're lighter weight than steel, they're still heavy, and they're bulky. So, because of my size, being 6'7", pretty big dude, I cannot wear a plate carrier and then get in my car. It doesn't work very well for me. So there are some limitations there because they're thick plates, right? And even when you go to the poly plates, they still got some kind of thickness to them. So I'm just not the biggest fan of wearing an actual traditional plate carrier as a uniform piece all day long. I just don't think it's very optimal. The Safe Life Defense product, the FRAS, I think that's the cat's meow in terms of being able to have rifle rated protection and having it at all times, and not just having to stop what you're doing, go take this specialized plate carrier, try to throw it on in an emergency, and then run into the problem of it not being properly fitted on you, not fastened correctly. So he doesn't have this thing fastened on correctly, and like I said, it could cause a problem where he don't have correct coverage, and or it hinder his ability to do anything. If he starts to go hands on, it's going to be shifting around on him and being a nuisance for him. Let's see here. This officer here, so he goes from being on safe to fire, and then going on safe again, and then going on fire. So you'll see him, he's on fire right now. At some point he decides to throw this rifle back onto safe. He's talking. Alright, so he puts it back on safe, and then at another point he decides to put it back on fire. So, and we also see some atrocious trigger finger placement, right? Like, he's not... Let me back this up. So, we can't see what he can see. You hear them talking about seeing the guy at the door, but we can't see exactly what they're seeing. So he could see the guy, see that he's a threat, and knows that he wants to keep his finger on the trigger because he's about to fire. But that doesn't necessarily line up with why he's throwing it on safety and then keeping his finger inside the trigger guard. I think he just, at this point, has bad trigger finger control. He's just resting that finger inside the trigger guard when he should not be resting it in there. We need to be indexing, even with rifles. We need to be keeping our trigger finger straight and forward outside the trigger guard, and only put our finger on that trigger until we are making that conscious decision to shoot that rifle right then and there. Rifle classes often have the students doing drills and doing runs on the range where they bring the gun up, safety off, pop, 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 safety on, rifle down, rifle up, safety off, pop, 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 safety on, rifle down. And they do this throughout the entire class. The rifle is always being thrown back on safe, even after doing a couple rounds and you're still facing the threat. I don't fully agree with that. The only times that a rifle need to be going on safe is when you're going hands off on the rifle. You're letting it drop, or you're slinging it. If you've got your gun up and you are looking at the threat, or you're searching for threats, I think that safety needs to be off. Our pistols, as far as Glocks and the M&P pistols without an external safety go, we have those up, right? You think about, you got your pistol out. You say you got a Glock, or let's say you have a pistol that does not have an external safety. You've got that gun up, you got it to low ready, you're moving around, you're walking, you're clearing corners, you're pieing corners, you're doing all that stuff without an external safety on that pistol. But when it comes to a rifle, now you're dicking around and thumbing this safety on and off, or keeping it on safe all the time, as you're doing the same thing that you were doing with a pistol that does not have an external safety. If it's safe for you to do it with a pistol that doesn't have an external safety, then it's safe for you to do the same stuff that you would do with the pistol as you would with the rifle, with the damn safety turned off. When you go to holster your handgun, that's your safety. You're covering up the trigger guard at that point. So for the rifle, if you've got it in your hands, just like you would your pistol, I think the safety can be turned off and left off until you decide to sling the rifle or go hands off. Then that's when you need to turn the safety on, because you don't have a holster to put that rifle in. You don't have anything that's going to be covering that trigger guard and keeping things from hitting that trigger. That's when the safety needs to be coming on. So I do think that in normal rifle classes where there's this over abundance of always, throwing the safety off, shooting, and throwing the safety on immediately right afterwards, I think that's a training scar. I really do. And I think this is a visual representation of that. I think we're being able to see that. I think that, like I said, I think if you've got that rifle in both hands, and you are doing the same stuff that you would be doing with a pistol that does not have an external safety, then it is safe for the rifle to be held and manipulated with the safety off. And that's what I do. If I am operating the rifle and I am moving around, both hands on the gun, or even one hand on the gun, and I'm moving from point A to point B to point C, whatever, I keep the safety off. I don't throw that safety on. When I throw that safety on, that's when my hands are coming off the rifle. That's when I'm slinging the rifle or I'm letting it hang. The only time I let that rifle hang without throwing the safety on is when I am doing a transition from rifle to pistol, because the rifle isn't going bang anymore and I can't put the safety on. So moving on. And apparently that tactic, I don't know if there's a word for it or not, but I had read something that was something that had been taught in some places back in the 1990s, but then it went away. I wish I could remember more about what I had read on that, but anyway, moving on. So he sees the threat, he fires, and then he starts blabbing on the radio. So I 100% agree with, shoot, move, communicate, right? Communication is a very important part of the fight, right? The side that doesn't get to communicate very well, or doesn't get to communicate at all, is oftentimes the side that doesn't win a fight as far as like forces go, right? But I think there comes a time where there is too much talking. So they have glass between them and this other person. This guy does have this big brick column that he's sort of behind, but other than that, there's glass. And if they've got a threat that's with a rifle, there's been people who've been shot. If he has shot at this guy once and has potentially hit him, anything worth shooting once is worth shooting twice. So firing one round and then immediately getting on the radio and talking doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. You're in the fight. Stay in that fight. Yes, does dispatch need to know when shots are fired? Yeah, sure. But that's dispatch. They're in a freaking room miles away. They are not there on the X. Stay in that fight. Keep your hands on that gun. Stop that threat, and then you can start talking. If dispatch wants someone to talk to, I mean, they're going to keep blabbing on the radio until someone answers them. Someone will answer them at some point when they recognize that other people have not answered that radio. So if you're there on the X, you're on the front line, stay off the radio. Stay in that fight. What if after firing that one round and he reaches that hand up to start blabbing on the radio, the dude comes back around and starts engaging, counter-assaulting the police? This officer is going to have one hand off the rifle and is not going to be as effective as he could be with both hands on the rifle. There's going to be a delay there. There's going to be that short amount of time where he doesn't have both hands on the rifle and is not going to be as accurate as he can be. So keep hands on the guns when you're on the X and in the fight. Communicate when it is appropriate and safe to do so. You don't always have to be on the radio. So, you hear, or you could hear earlier, the guy talking about, get behind cover. And he goes, I am behind cover. So, some people may say, well, you're not behind cover. Well, yeah, he is. He is behind cover. He's not hugging his cover, but he's behind cover. He's got this big freaking rock column right here. I think that's going to stop bullets pretty well. And he is maneuvering himself to be able to see around that. And from the bad guy's perspective, there's going to be less of this guy that is visible versus this guy who is hugging his cover. This guy's right up on top of his cover. The bad guy's going to see more of him than he is going to be able to see this guy who is several feet away from this cover and is peeking around the corners of it. I would suspect that the bad guy probably noticed this guy, probably, before he probably noticed him. He could have saw him poke around the corner a little bit, but I'd say that if he was really looking at him, he probably noticed this guy more, which I think that's supported by when he does run out the building and he's facing that direction, you see him raise the rifle at him. You don't see him pointing the rifle forward towards this way. You see him pointing it more over in there. So at some point, as this officer is approaching and he's looking out, I guess he recognizes that he has to do something with his sight, because he reaches up and he starts either adjusting the brightness up or decreasing it. Don't know what he's doing, but he starts to have to mess with the sights. Or he could be having to turn it on. I don't fully know, but I would imagine that with him walking forward and looking, he should have noticed if the sight was off to begin with. So I'd say he was probably adjusting the brightness on it, trying to make it a little bit brighter. That one officer fires around, spooks him a little bit, and then he goes and then starts hugging the cover, getting closer to it, figure out what's going on, and then boom, the guy comes out. So yeah, I get it, right? Like, you're facing off with a person who's got a deadly weapon, a rifle, and then you hear a loud crack of the rifle, and you're like, oh shit. But at this point, he has put himself at a huge disadvantage. His rifle is ported up, he's not pointed towards the threat, and that guy comes out pretty damn fast. Luckily, the guy didn't have a working rifle, but look how fast he came out. And as he's turning, getting the rifle up, ready to go into the fight, boom, there he is. That's pretty quick. And so by him being turned back to the wall like this, rifle ported up, I don't think he was in a good position. What if this guy had been a little bit faster, and what if his rifle worked? This guy would have been standing with his back to the wall, rifle pointed up, yapping on the radio, and potentially getting schwacked by this dude who has probably no training whatsoever. Pops him again. I think he pops him. I think this guy gets popped at least 3 times. So we see gases coming out there. So 1, 2, yeah. So he fires a few times on this guy. And boom, that's where they stopped the video. So this is where I talked about Las Vegas being stupid and not showing the full video stuff. They just they show a small snippet and then they end it real quick. But he had pretty good reaction time once he noticed the threat, right? Now, what I was talking earlier about the safety selector switch. So he is in the fire position right here. And it looks like he stays in the fire position. Let's go. Comes over here, turns back, starts yakking. Or it looks like he's about to start yakking on the radio. And then very quickly looks like it's still in the fire position. He hasn't messed with it. And then we see that very quickly the threat comes out, and he is able to very quickly shoot the threat. What if he had still had his rifle on safety? Would he have been able to as quickly put rounds on target as he did? I'd say probably not. He would have had that delay period of pulling that trigger, nothing happening, and then having to throw the safety off. Or he would recognize maybe that safety was on, he had to throw that safety off and then shoot. He would be behind a little bit. And like I said, what if this dude had a working rifle? It would have been a face-to-face, who can shoot the quickest. And so that is why I do not believe in throwing that damn safety on all the time. If you've got this rifle in your hands, you're in control of it. The trigger guard is not having anything around it. I see it being no different than handling a pistol that does not have an external safety. If you're walking from point A to point B with a pistol in your hand that does not have an external safety, it is fine for you to do the same with a rifle. But the minute you start to sling the rifle, go hands off, you need to throw that safety on. There's another video out there of like a cell phone footage that shows a little bit more, because obviously, citizens out there aren't having to edit their videos like woke liberal police agencies are. And it shows, I think, a pretty good perspective of it. And you see him dump rounds in this guy pretty effectively. But pretty good reaction time on him. And like I said, I think him having that safety off really helped him with that reaction time. So we see this officer here. Once he gets on scene, he then goes to get the stuff out the back. I think a better tactic is, before you arrive on scene, stop, get your stuff out, put it on, get it ready, and then go to the scene. What if he gets there and then that guy then decided to come running out the front door shooting? He's going to be at the back of this car dicking around with this stuff while the dude's coming out potentially shooting. I don't think that it is the best idea or the best practice to be getting in the hot zone and then trying to prepare yourself to be operating in the hot zone. This, to me, this would be like in a hazmat scenario. The fire truck goes straight up to the chemical spill, and then the firefighters get out and start putting on their hazmat gear in the hot zone. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Instead, you stop before you get into the hot zone, get geared up, and then you go in. So, like I said, I think the best practice is, before you get on the X, before you get on the scene, you need to stop, get your rifle out, danger it up, put that sling around your neck, kind of like in a one-point sling configuration, wearing it like a necklace, so to speak. Let the barrel hang between your legs as you're driving. And then when you get on the scene, you're able to dismount from that vehicle with a rifle on you, ready to go. You're not having to pull it out and danger it up and mess with it while you're on the X. Same goes for plate carriers and stuff like that. If you're in a vehicle and if you got the body typed where you can put all that stuff on and still maneuver around pretty easily. Some people I've seen have taken their plate carrier and put it up there in the front seat with them, and they leave the left side of the cummerbund unsnapped, and then they are able to, and I don't fully agree with this, as they're driving, they reach over and grab the plate carrier and they can pull it on over them and slip it on while they're still driving. When you look at police officer line of duty deaths, car wrecks is a pretty high leading cause of death for police officers. So I just don't think that operating a motor vehicle and trying to reach over and put on a damn vest or try to reach over and grab your rifle while you're driving is the best idea, because it can lead to a traffic fatality. The best option, the safest option, is to stop the car. Just stop it, right? Grab what you need to grab and do it right the first time. Throw that vest on, make sure that cummerbund's snapped on there, get that rifle, undo the sling, charge the rifle, take the sight caps off if you have caps on there, hit the button to make sure it is turned on, adjust it to that brightness that you want. If you notice it's bright outside and the dot is not that bright, increase the brightness of it. Then get back in the car. Throw the sling over the neck, have the barrel between the legs, and then proceed to the call. Or if you've got the rifle in the cab of the vehicle, it can be even quicker. You just stop, reach up, or behind you, whatever, pull that rifle out, go through that same danger up process, sling it around the neck like a necklace, and then boom, go. I think that is the better, safer option than getting on the X and then trying to get a rifle out and load it while you're on the X. Because then, once you're on the X and you've got an unloaded rifle at this point and the threat comes out, well, you don't have a rifle that's working. You also notice that he doesn't have a bunch of crap on top of his rifle bag. His rifle bag is right here. It's easy for him to get to. He does have a bunch of other stuff in here, but his rifle bag's quick and easy to get to, and his plate carrier that looks like it's sitting in a go bag is easy to get to. He don't have a bunch of crap on top of it, and that's a good thing. You don't want this life-saving equipment to be having a bunch of crap on top of it, because it just makes it harder to get to. So a good setup the way he's got it right there. And he had the rifle bag already seemingly unzipped for quick and easy removal of the rifle itself. So depending on the car you've got and the cargo space or the trunk, you can do that, or you may not be able to get away with that. But he had this set up to where he was able to do that. So he's just able to reach in, boom, pull that rifle out, and get it rocking. So that can make the deployment a lot quicker. But like I said, not every setup is going to be the same, and there could be some setups where you might not be able to keep that rifle bag in the open position. So what I would recommend for a rifle bag that you can't keep in the open position is the zipper pulls need to have contrasting color pulls on them. So if you've got a black bag, you do not need to have black cords on your zippers. You need to have bright colored cords on your zippers, like white paracord, yellow paracord, toxic green paracord, something that is way contrasting than the rest of the bag, and have that centrally in the middle, right? So that you can do it from either hand. It's not on some far corner that's off to the side. Have it right there in the center, where it's, as soon as you open up the trunk or the cargo space, boom, there's those two zipper pulls, and you just pull them apart and then get the rifle out. And I think, is that the last footage? Yep, so that is the last footage we see. And we'll freeze frame it right in here. All right, so not really a whole lot else to say on this video. If you want to watch the video that it's just a straight video from Las Vegas Police, without me talking. I'll have that uploaded as well for you to be able to watch. But the biggest key takeaways from this, I think, are rifle safeties do not always have to be on while you're handling the gun. If you can handle a pistol that does not come equipped with an external safety and be safe with it, then you can do the same with a rifle. The only time a rifle needs to be safetied is when you are letting go of it and you're slinging it. Putting on gear in the hot zone. So I think the best practice is to stop before you ever get on the X. Get your rifle out, get it ready, get your vest on if you need to, plate carrier, whatever, and then proceed. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me to danger up in the hot zone. And that was it. I am happy to see that all these officers had rifles out. That is great, because that is often my biggest chief complaint, is officers neglecting to get rifles out. But in this scenario, all three officers that were involved in this had rifles out, and that is good. If you know you're going to a gunfight, bring a rifle and bring your friends with rifles. And so they followed one of the biggest rules of a gunfight, and they obviously won this gunfight. All right, so like I said, not much else to talk about. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.